Hello, everybody, and welcome to Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. I'm Lisa Shield,
And I'm Benjamin Shield.
and we're so happy to see you here today. We are going to talk about a topic that I think is really on most women's minds. And this is, what is more important to a man, looks or personality, or both?
Or both, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I love the phrase beauty attracts the eye, but personality captures the heart.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start. So, babe, let's first talk about something that for me was really a challenge when I was younger, this idea that men are visual. As a woman, that felt threatening to me because, in a lot of ways, we are born the way we're born. I'm not a Kardashian to begin with, and I also don't have endless amounts of money to undergo plastic surgery. I also don't have the desire to live in a gym and focus on that. I'm a much more cerebral person. I enjoy doing my work, and I don't love working out. So I felt very threatened by this idea that men might be summing me up by the way I look. And I felt in a lot of ways like a super attractive man wouldn't be attracted to me because I wasn't a beauty.
Well, I think that men are visual, and I think of the image that if I'm at a red light
Mhm.
and I see two women crossing the street in the crosswalk, and one is this gorgeous woman. She's decked out, lots of makeup, several inch heels, and it catches my eye. But next to her would be a woman who is so in her body and enjoying moving, and my eyes are going to follow that woman more than the initial glance I had at the gorgeous one.
Yeah, and sometimes women, even though they're all dressed up and they are put together, they're awkward. They're not comfortable in their own skin, and they're using their physical appearance, the clothes and all, to get attention. But excuse me, but they don't, even if they get the attention, they don't know what to do with it once they have it.
Yeah, and often all the makeup and the fashion is a cover for not having a fully developed personality.
Mm-hmm.
And so the looks wear thin after a while.
Yeah.
Because there's no connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so with a woman who is in her body, who feels authentic, who comes across as someone who has deep values and is interested in the world, that's going to capture a man's attention.
Well, a real man, because there are men who are superficial and do just fall for looks, or men who are waiting for that extraordinary woman to come along who has both beauty and personality. But in the meantime, there's a lot of men. And one of the things I think that's so threatening to so many women is that we see men falling for these women, right? And they may just be falling for them in superficial ways. They see them as somebody to spend time with, to have a good time with, but not the kinds of women that they would want to marry or be in long-term relationships with.
Right. Those relationships usually don't last.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years ago, I was in a relationship with this gorgeous woman, just beautiful, and by any standard in the world. And she was depressed. She was clinically depressed. And there was a point where I just, no matter how beautiful she was, there was no attraction. In fact, it was just the opposite. and um, and also a man having, I had another long ago, really beautiful woman, and we'd walk into a restaurant, and every man in the restaurant would look up at her, and I realized that it didn't make me feel good. It made me feel insecure as a man. It made me feel like this woman could have any man she wanted, and she eventually would go on from man to man to man, but it didn't make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. I never, I was in the fashion industry for years. And first of all, I saw, even though, I envied women who were beautiful, who were head turners, because attention came so easily to them, right? They just got attention. You had a secretary once or an assistant who had been a very, very successful former fashion model.
Yeah.
And she used to really cover herself up, and she hunched over and put her head down because she was so uncomfortable with the attention that her beauty attracted.
Yeah.
She actually was such a deep and beautiful person, but she was so insecure because she got so much attention just because of her beauty and not because of who she is or was. And so I know that this, now I really understand that it can be a burden and a curse. And some of the models that I knew were abused by their boyfriends. They were in terrible relationships. And I envied their beauty, but I didn't envy their relationships with men. And so that's where I started to tease out this, idea that, beauty is, like I said, it can be a blessing and a curse, but personality was something that I could develop. And in developing my personality, I would engage with men in a way that was much more aligned for me, that was much more in integrity. And I knew by the time I was out dating and I ultimately met you, I knew exactly who I was being, how to engage with a man in a healthy way. And so it was, and I knew that you fell in love with me because of who I am.
And you bring up a really good point that, over times, for all of us, looks fade, but personalities develop, with time and experience and wisdom. So it's really personality that we want to stay with in the long run, because that's going to grow and looks are going to fade.
Well, and the truth is we've gotten more attractive as we've aged, and we see this over and over again with the women in our course, that they get more beautiful as they start to let go of all this pressure, this dark cloud they've been living under.
In a matter of weeks, we see a tremendous shift in how beautiful they become.
Yeah, and it really is true that there is what we would term classic beauty, right? There are beauties, and we've even had some of those women in our course. In fact, I coached what I think is one of probably the most beautiful woman I've ever known. And she was stunningly beautiful, to the point where I was distracted by her beauty when she first came to me. The person who had referred her to me, warned me that she was gorgeous. And it's real beauty. I mean, it's a kind of beauty that you're just born into. Like, it's like that rare combination. There's many, many, many beautiful women, but this woman was a beauty. And I was once I got past all of that, I could see that she was struggling with the same issues, the same fears, the same blocks as all of us are, and that her beauty was only one part of a much bigger equation. And she was also beautiful on the inside, which really made her even that much more beautiful, like Aunt Ruth, like my Aunt Ruth, who was not just beautiful on the outside, but also was just a kind and beautiful soul. But she was also very shy. And, you know, she loved my uncle, my great uncle Sid, very much. But at the same time, yeah, it was a difficult relationship. And what I realized was I wasn't wanting to just get a great guy. What I wanted was to get a great relationship.
Yeah.
That was really the goal. And so while I don't think I'm a head turner, you know, I've been around beautiful women. They're all over Los Angeles. It's a city of some of the most beautiful people in the world. And in the fashion industry, I was surrounded by beautiful people. But I realized that beauty and real relationship is so much deeper than that.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons I was immediately attracted to you was on our first date. First, you showed kindness because I was, you know, maybe the only time in my life I was late for anything, and you were incredibly kind, and also emotionally vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
That I knew that we would continue to know each other more and more and deeper, which is true. And so, you know, if I'm sitting across from this gorgeous woman who's not emotionally vulnerable, you know, it's like being in a museum. You could appreciate the beauty, but there's no real, you know, other than that of appreciating the beauty, there's no real connection. And with you, I knew that our connection would grow because of the emotional vulnerability, the availability that you had, and it brought out mine. So it was this synergistic connection.
Yeah, I remember, I know this is a strange analogy, but I remember you were ill and I was there with you through an illness. And then you said, you know, you were so sweet the way you were and you wanted to buy me a gift. And you bought, you know, and I said, well, what I would really love is a Chanel bag. And we lived in Los Angeles at the time. People, you know, had beautiful bags. I mean, it was a status symbol. And I'd never had something like that. It was something that I'd never given, you know, that I'd never had. And I remember when I got the bag, it was this luxury item, you know, and I didn't wear it for a while. Like I didn't use it. And I remember even the first couple of times I did, I felt a little uncomfortable with it. I didn't know how to actually wear it or use it. And it's kind of like beauty. It can be elusive. It can almost be something, you know, when you have a luxury item or something that you're putting on a pedestal or that you're seeing as precious, it's distancing in a way. It's not, sometimes it's not easy to even know how to be with that. So for me, I never wanted to date. Like I remember when I was online and dating, I never even reached out to the super handsome men. And it's not because, look, I've had good looking boyfriends in the past. I look back and I'm like, wow, you know, these men, some of them were quite handsome, but it wasn't something I was aspiring to, being with a great looking guy. I wanted a real person. It was more relatable for me. And that purse, eventually, I took it off its pedestal, and I got used to wearing it. And I realized it's just a bag. It's just a very expensive, overpriced bag, to be honest. And like everything else, it's going to age. It's tarnished. The symbol on it has has lost its luster. And yeah, so we put these things, we hold them out as these, looks or whatever. And we really aspire to all these things that I don't know in the scheme of things really matter. What do most of the women who meet their guys say, babe, in our program when they meet the guy?
Well, they're surprised that the image they had in their mind originally of what that guy's going to look like was very different from who they wound up happily ever after.
Yeah.
With the guardians of we call the guardian of their soul. That and they couldn't be happier.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that many of us have this preconception of this perfect guy,
Mm-hmm.
Like 6'2", a CEO, with
go-getter,
but also lots of time to just kick back in the evening on the weekends and go on spontaneous trips.
Yeah, which probably isn't going to happen. And the thing I love the most is when these women say, yeah, he's not my usual type. I never thought I'd be with, like, he's totally different than the man I thought I would wind up with. And he's only an inch taller than me.
Right. Or less.
Uh-huh.
Or shorter in some cases.
Yeah, in some cases, even shorter.
Yeah. And I think that the greatest aphrodisiac for both a man and a woman is respect.
Mm-hmm.
And so first, when a man feels respect from a woman, respect is the most important thing a man could feel, even more important than love.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a woman shows a man respect, genuine respect, that is extraordinary. And when a man has respect for a woman, that is just a dynamite, explosive combination.
Yeah. So the great news, I think, is that what we find physically attractive is also subjective, right? Like beauty is truly in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah. And when we look into someone else's eyes, if we can see their kindness, the emotional connection, and what it feels like to be with them, is there humor? Are there shared values? Is there intelligence that can build a deeper connection and lead to lasting relationship?
Yeah. Most, a lot of our clients, a lot of the women that come to us are very accomplished women. These are women who are intelligent, educated, worldly, accomplished. And often what we see, in what we're taught is that beauty is up here and all these other qualities, like a woman has to almost dumb herself down so that she doesn't overwhelm a man. But that's not true. There are men who want intelligent women, who want to be with women who are not little girls, who are not just giggling all the time and acting silly and dumbing themselves down. They want women who have those qualities. Yeah. They're very, very, very important.
Yeah. So some of the qualities that a man would be very attracted to is, as I mentioned before, a woman who's in her body.
Can you describe what that means, honey?
It means that there's a certain comfort that she shows just in even the simplest of movement. That there's an authenticity. It's almost as if the crosshairs meet, and so that who she's presenting herself to the world and who she truly is deep inside match.
Well, and also a woman who's in her body is very sensual.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest things. Women who are frenetic, rushing, going, doing, they're very disorienting for men. A woman who is very frenetic, a man cannot relax around her.
Yeah.
And so that's, a man is looking for a woman where he can be himself with her.
Yeah. And when we think of the quintessential icons, archetypes of sensuality, we think of these women, in film or other that move slowly, that are in their body, that draws people in.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone is frenetic, it can actually be repelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say that I think the biggest beauty feature of all is a smile. I mean, I can, if I'm at a party or a group and there's a woman smiling, my eyes go immediately to her. Young, old, whatever physical features, it is the biggest feature of attractiveness that I could think of. It's the most beautiful facial feature of all. And then kindness. It's a universal virtue. And there are no physical requirements to be kind.
Mm-hmm.
When someone is kind, they immediately seem more attractive. Yeah. And a man also wants to sense how a woman is in the world. Is she compassionate? Does she have gratitude, forgiveness, integrity? And does she try to improve the world with her presence? Does she want to be sure that she leaves even the smallest situation better than when she arrived? And also that what people say match their actions, and that's true for both men and women.
Right.
But we want that dependability.
Yep.
And integrity. And we talked about emotional availability.
Can I go back to that other one for a
Please.
second? It doesn't feel safe to a man, just in the same way with a woman, when a man isn't a man of his word, it's the same for a man. When a woman isn't aligned with her word, when her words and actions are not aligned, it doesn't feel safe for him. It triggers the same kinds of doubts and questions. Does she like me? Do I matter? It's the same for both.
Yeah.
And I think, it's really important that women stop and ask themselves, do my actions and words align? I want a man whose actions and words align, but do mine?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of women don't show up in integrity.
Yeah, absolutely. And and what you say and do matters more than what one looks like.
And also women love to talk. Like, we love to talk about how fabulous we are, how wonderful, all of our self-help courses and how we're going to therapy and we're so spiritual. But it's one thing to think those things, but a real man is going to sit back and he's going to watch your actions, not just listen to your words. And they will see through that in a second. I think women, something as I'm talking to you that a lot of women do not appreciate is that a real man lives at a certain level of integrity himself, and he can see through all of these inconsistencies in a woman's behavior. Mm. And he can very quickly assess, is she a woman or a girl?
Yeah. And trust and safety is important to, are important to a man as much as to a woman. So, if a man doesn't feel that he could truly trust a woman's word and or feel safe, that's a prescription for the relationship just to fall apart.
Well, and especially younger men may stick in relationships with women, as we all do, thinking things will change and that two people can grow together and all. But a man of experience who's been around the block a few times is pretty aware of what is, that he wants a woman with a certain level of self-awareness and maturity.
Yeah.
And, beauty can capture a guy's, especially for an older, more mature man, beauty can capture their attention. I mean, we are going to always look at someone or something beautiful, but can it, the question is, can you keep someone's attention? And I remember one of your former clients was dating a woman. She was a fabulous woman and she was very attractive, but not a beauty. And I remember him saying to me, I've had many beautiful women, but this is the woman that I know I'm going to be with. This is the woman that I know I will spend the rest of my life with because she has substance.
Right. Substance, emotional availability, kindness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we talked about how respect is the greatest aphrodisiac there is, because that will just keep growing. That will keep the attractiveness, the sensuality, all of that alive through years and years and years to come. If there's no respect, if a man is just drawn by beauty, and perhaps the woman has extraordinary features that he does respect, that's great. But it could also be that the beauty is a cover for those things that he doesn't respect, and so that dies down very quickly. The sensuality, the excitement really dies very quickly. And when that happens, it can create distancing. It can create disrespect, stonewalling, dissociation from each other. Yeah.
Well, also some very beautiful women are also deeply insecure, like the beautiful woman you were talking about who was clinically depressed. And often women who get a lot of attention because of the way they look don't develop or have to develop their personalities in the way that women who are less attractive do. And that insecurity comes out and it will sabotage the relationship. I also think men, a man will get very tired of trying to build that woman up and trying to, make her feel, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting to do that. But also I think that often men know that they're with women who are beautiful because it builds up their ego. It makes them feel better about themselves to be with a beautiful woman. And in the end, it feels like settling. It really does. For a man, settling for a woman just because she's beautiful and putting up with a lot of insecurity and drama feels like settling. He knows he's settling, and that doesn't feel good for the man.
Yeah. And when the relationship seems like a beautiful woman, an attractive man, but nothing out, that knocks it out of the park. What a man needs most, other than respect, is to have his masculinity married back to him. And he thinks he's going to get that by having a beautiful woman on his side. So that people will look at him and say, wow, he must be quite the man because he's got this beautiful woman. But if he doesn't feel it from the woman, if he doesn't get his masculinity
Oh.
married back to the woman, you know, it's lacking. It's lacking. But someone who is, you know, fun, who is emotionally available, kind, all of these things, who could mirror back a man's masculinity to him, that is gold. That is absolutely gold.
Well, and I think that sometimes if you're with, like you, I think you've said this before to me that, you know, when you're with a very beautiful woman, you wonder if you get up to go to the
Right.
restroom, if you're going to come back and there's going to be some other guy hitting on her.
And I'm sure that's happened many times, not to me, but I knew that it could happen. You know, it was just one step away from happening. So there was always that insecurity. That,
well, and you sometimes wonder, you know, like other people from the outside are looking, going, you know, it's like a much, you know, when you have a big discrepancy in the age, whether it's a much older woman and a younger man or vice versa, you wonder what the agenda is there for you know, and a stunningly beautiful woman, you wonder when she's with a man who isn't a match physically, you wonder, is she settling? Does he have a lot of money? And so he got a more beautiful woman. So people looking at those couples question that. Or if an older man is with a much younger woman or vice versa, you wonder also, you know, is that a bargain? Are they settling? Are they doing that? Is that an arrangement so that they get their needs met? But yeah, and most of the time, often it really is.
yeah. And you bring up a good point in that when a man is with a beautiful woman, you know, on those occasions where, you know, there's not that deep emotional connection, he's constantly under stress to please her, to buy her gifts, to take her on trips, to go to the best restaurants, all of those things, because he feels that if he doesn't, he's going to lose her. And that's a terrible insecurity placed on the man.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, that, you know, he's not even enjoying the relationship. There's always this anxiety and insecurity that he's got to be more than and give more than what he's comfortable.
Wow. I remember when you talked about one of your former wives, and you had to send 3 bouquets of flowers to her.
Right. Well, 2. You know, she was a soap opera actress for about 40 years, and particularly early in her career, when she'd be on these, you know, like Good Morning America or, you know, Today Show, things like that. And I knew her entourage would be sending, you know, a dozen roses. So I had to distinguish myself. And it was a lot of stress. So I'd send 2 dozen roses, but I knew they would just get lost, you know, with the other roses. So, and it eventually just, we went our separate ways, you know, amicably.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't a match after a while, because I felt I was really competing with so many other people for her attention, affection.
Yeah. Oh, that must have been really, really, really tough. So what about passion? Let's talk about that one.
Well, passion is one of the most attractive qualities that a woman could have, you know, because first, it shows that she's alive and in all 5 of her senses. And it also shows that she could be playful, you know, in and out of the bedroom. And not just in the bedroom.
Right.
But passionate when she's at a reshaunt, at a museum, in nature. All of those things are enlivening to the man, you know, to share that passion. And sometimes it's the woman that brings the passion to the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. And it shows that she can receive, that she's in tune to the world around her, to the things that are happening, you know, in and around her. And she can take those things in, you know, through her senses, you know, in a sensual way. I think you said in your beautifully written profile, that you were looking for a woman who lived life with all her senses.
Yes.
And that was such a beautiful line to me. I loved that idea, you know. Yeah, and I think we do bring that alive for men.
I think one thing that a man wants most in a relationship is to make the woman happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a woman is in her senses, she, like with a piece of chocolate he may,
Mm-hmm.
bring, she just savors it. And she really appreciates a great restaurant or a beautiful boat ride or whatever it is. But the man wants to know that he's making the woman happy.
Yeah.
If a woman is used to being showered with gifts, and for her it's never really enough. There's never there's never enough.
Yeah.
That when a man senses that, he feels he can't please the woman, and that is devastating.
Well, or when she expects it.
When she expects it, yeah.
When a woman expects it, I don't think women really realize sometimes they have these very fixed ideas of how a man is supposed to show his love to her. It's one of the things I don't like about the love languages. It's that it almost justifies or validates these ideas that this is how I like to receive love. And then people put these expectations around it. Like if I'm not getting it in this exact way, then he doesn't love me. My love language is words of affirmation, and if he's not saying, I love you all the time, or you're beautiful, then I don't feel like he loves me. And if he knew my love language, he should use it. I don't know who, some of these things are crazy. And yes, I get that we all have different ways that we do that we feel, that we really receive love. But I think that book for me kind of just gave people license to say, you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. Right. Anyway, I went on a little tangent there, but okay. What else, babe?
Well, I think it's important with time that both the man and the woman appreciate when each other's stays in physical shape, and has personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
But that a woman wants to stay in shape by going to the gym or yoga or Pilates or whatever it may be,
hiking, dancing,
Peloton, all of those things. That a man feels that it's not just for her that she's doing it, but for him also.
Yeah, and I think it's easy as we're aging to start to give up on ourselves and give in to the effects of aging. And it's very easy to do that. And when you're in a relationship with someone that you really love, it's important. We can still be the best, 61 or 70-year-old version of ourselves and enjoy every age and who we are at each age and not give up. And I do think one of the beautiful things about partnership, our partnership anyway, is wanting to stay attractive to each other.
Yeah.
How we do that.
I work out for me, but I think it may even be 40-60 because I want to stay attractive to you. And that reflects back to me. So I actually get more than that 40%. I get a lot more than that. But I really want to make the effort to be attractive to you. And you do the same for me, which means the world to me.
And I'm so proud of you. Like, I cannot believe, we hear so many stories from some of our older clients who will say, gosh, the men just don't take care of themselves, at a certain age. And I look at you and I'm like, yeah, some guys do. You look better now than when we met.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, you really do. You don't wear skin tight shirts, but I can vouch for your six pack. And I am, I'm the lucky one who gets to see that every day.
and me with you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And that takes us to the next one.
Well, on our first date, when I asked you what you were looking for, you said something on the order of, I've done a lot of work on myself, and now I'm ready to find a great guy and just have fun. And when a man thinks about the future, like 5, 10, 25 years in the future, he wants someone he could have fun with.
Yeah.
Along with everything else, and that there'll be humor and playfulness. And so that's what we've had for these over 20 years. Lots of playfulness and fun and humor.
Yeah, and I could be the most beautiful woman in the world, but if I'm making life hard and I have a heavy personality and I'm not enjoying life, that's not something you want to sign up for in the long run.
Right. And I would add gratitude to the list of attractive features also. That, I was reading a book recently, and they said the difference between being rich and being wealthy is being rich means having a lot of money, but being wealthy means being happy with what you have. And so if a woman is happy with what she has and not always feeling if only, then I would be happy. So if a woman feels like she's happy and grateful for life, that a guy feels great, and secure, and he doesn't always have to try to reach for the next thing to make her happy.
Can I say something so incredible about what I feel life has taught me, or our journey, our life together in terms of gratitude for both of us? Life doesn't follow according to what most people think. Like in our relationship, we really have been guardians of each other's souls. And there have been times where, I've been really struggling to get my career together, to find my way in the world. I didn't come to you with some illustrious career and everything all figured out in my life. I had a lot of the big pieces figured out, but not my career, not career-wise. I really had not found that part of myself yet. And it's because of you that we're here right now. You have had illnesses and the pandemic when you couldn't work, and other times. Together, we have been extraordinary partners, and we have been able to meet each other at every step of the way. And it's been a beautiful dance. But what has been such a gift to me is the kind of man that you are, because you have, it's been tough for you in those times where you couldn't work. I know that because I know who you are for whatever reasons, but you've always maintained your sense of self. You've always been able to work, for us to work together as a team. And I think that that's a beautiful gift, that we have all of these ideas of things going back to beauty and personality, and the things that we place so much importance on. The real dance of relationship has really been in the personality realm, where, who you are, who I am, and how we've been able to work together as a team in this relationship. We could have been two of the most beautiful people in the world who were ill-equipped to handle these challenges. But this is what has given us the ability to navigate real life together. And it's been beautiful.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely extraordinary. I share that because I want people to let go of these constructs, these ideas that they hold on to so tightly and that they think matter. You know, I look at you and I think, look, I just had to be beautiful enough for you to be attracted to me, whatever that is,
Yeah.
you know.
And for me to be attracted to you, you wouldn't even need a fraction of how beautiful you were
Oh,
and
honey.
are. You know, I would have been attracted to you because of what was inside, and most of all, how I felt when I was with you. Most of all.
You know, I mean, it's so funny as a woman. It really is, you know, the thing that is most prized with women is beauty. And I think there's a person inside of all, you know, there's a part of every woman who really would love to have that, if that makes sense, because it is so coveted to have that kind of beauty. And I think what I'm seeing in this conversation is the thing that's even more prized is love, and to have the person that you love think that you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's the most beautiful thing of all. Even though objectively, you know, would I like to look like Cate Blanchett? Yeah. Heck yeah. You know, I think she's gorgeous. Or that beautiful Asian woman.
Oh, and the company you keep.
Oh my God, she is like unbelievably beautiful. She's breathtaking. She's one of the most beautiful women I've seen in a long, long time. You know, would I want to look like her? Wow. Yeah, but I'm so, you know, I am the luckiest woman alive because you love me and I know you see my beauty, whether it's physical or otherwise. I think all together you think I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah. And so, you know, I think that trust and safety are also aphrodisiacs. So when a woman or a man are trustworthy and their deeds match their words, and there's a safety to the relationship, that is incredibly attractive. And that's what keeps a relationship together, that sense of trustworthiness and
Yeah.
And you know, a man is also looking for a woman with intelligence, because we're looking, when we match, we both the man and the woman want their greatest teachers. So the woman wants the man to be her greatest teacher, but the man wants a woman that he could continually learn from, that she could offer something that only a woman could teach him. And so we want that intelligence, you know, with each other.
Well, and I think we also want to respect the way we how do I say this? Like, I love the way you express your masculinity. Like, I love experiencing what it means to be a man through you. You know, I just think that you are such a beautiful expression of your gender, and I couldn't imagine somebody doing it better than you do it.
Thank you.
So you teach me what it is to be a man by who you are, by your example.
And your femininity brings out my masculinity. And you reflecting, as you just did, my masculinity to me helps to increase that masculine energy in me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that another thing that attracts a man is when a woman has confidence. where she's just confident in herself, and that being confident can overshadow appearance and make a woman shine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredibly attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also important that first that a woman understands her values, and that so a man can see if they have shared values. And that's like two magnets just coming together. When two people have shared values, it far exceeds any attractiveness. Physical attractiveness is just like, there's just this synergy that happens.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
It's very important to share values and principles in a relationship.
Yeah. And it's so important that both members come into a relationship or potential relationship with being their authentic selves, because it's so easy, if we lack confidence, that we're projecting, and we have kind of a persona that we're leading with, but the other person can't really see who we are. And it's only when a person can see who we are that emotional relationship can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're dealing with a hologram or two holograms at a day rather than the real people.
Yeah.
So showing up as genuine and authentic and comfortable in our own skin.
Beautiful. So I think, babe, if we were going to summarize, beauty is something that's wonderful. It's it's one of the most extraordinary things in nature. And we are all drawn to things that are beautiful. But what we're looking for is someone that we're genuinely attracted to.
Yeah.
And attraction is much more all-encompassing. And that takes in not just somebody's physical appearance, but their personality as well. And the personality in many ways colors, starts to come through and make a person, appear even more beautiful, just in the way that when we first met, I was still making sense of your face, the way you look, your appearance and all. Now, I couldn't even imagine a time where I didn't think that you were the handsomest man in the world. So I think it's just, beauty will always be something that will attract attention, but there has to be something more for real love and for lasting love.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Oh, good. Okay. I like that. If I get your seal of approval, I know we did well. All right, everybody. Well, I am Lisa Shield.
And I'm Benjamin Shield.
And this has been Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. Please go to lisashield.com. If you want to learn more about working with us and finding the guardian of your soul, every woman can have this, every man, everyone. If this is something you truly want, all you have to do is be willing to invest the time and make the space in your life to do this work. We teach a 12-week course. That's all we need to really transform your love life. So please check us out all over the website. There is a button to watch my free presentation. Stay to the end, because that's where you can book a call to discuss how you can work with us. You can also send us ideas for future podcasts to podcast@lisashield.com. Give us a thumbs up, a like, give us your feedback. If you don't like us, let us know. If you do like us, let us know. Look, it's much more important to us to get honest feedback than for everybody to think we're great. So, and we really do read your comments and we take it to heart. So let us know your thoughts. And finally, what else did I want to say?
Well, to go to lisashield.com.
I said that.
Okay, great.
So just spread the word.
Good.
Let's get the word out there. Tell everybody you know about this broadcast. If you like it, please let your mothers and sisters and brothers and fathers, your daughters, your sons, your friends, let everybody know about this broadcast. We would love to grow our audience and help more and more people find the guardians of their souls. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.